Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Zachary Dickinson here. Again, sorry for the absence once more. But I'm back here for this wonderful week. Probably gonna post a little bit more than normal just to catch up on a few things and to get some more stuff out now and rather than just wait another week for those topics. Today's video will be about my top 5 favorite superheroes and why these individuals are in the top 5 and why they are at different places in the top 5. So, without any further ado, let's begin with all 5 of my favorite superheroes. Alright, and so all 5 of my top 5 are in no particular order right now: Spider Man, Batman, Aquaman, Green Arrow, and Daredevil. So, these are my top 5 favorites. Now, it's going to be a little bit different than normal ranking type of thing, because I know definitively what my top 3 are. The other two, I'll just say right now, number 4 and 5 respectively, I don't really have a definitive way to say which is which, so I'll just say them both now. 4/5 is both Green Arrow and Aquaman. These are both because they're both newer additions towards what are my favorites, because I didn't just want to do a top 3 or anything or just talk about my 3 favorites. And so these are definitively, I've known that these 5 are my 5 favorite superheroes. However, these are the 2 that I know the least about, both comic wise and adaptation wise. So for those reasons, they are lower. They are both 4 and 5. I would like to learn more about them in the comics and through various different adaptations. Uh, Green Arrow, the only really Arrow stuff I've seen is, of course, the Arrow show and the universe that sprouted from its making, and Aquaman, the only stuff I've really seen is the Aquaman movies, but with Jason Momoa, which I know is not a good or great adaptation for Aquaman as a character overall. Also, Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, later in the Smallville show as well. And so, both of these, I don't know too much about the overall character or aspects of the character. I just know what I've seen on the shows. Now, number 3, I also don't know too much about comics, but I've also done a little bit of research, so it's a little bit different. All right, so number 3 is Daredevil. This is the third one that has come up in recent memory. The other two, which are Batman and Spider Man, I have had as my 2 favorite heroes in both my favorite heroes in their respective universes of DC and Marvel. And though they have been my favorites as long as I can remember, since I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. Daredevil is much newer and pretty much started whenever I watched the show. And no, I did not watch the Daredevil show when it initially came out. I watched the first 2 seasons in about 2017, and then I watched the third season when it did ultimately come out. And so I have loved Daredevil, the character, how he's blind, how he fights. The fight style and choreography of Daredevil is definitely the most intriguing part. I also love lawyer stuff in different TV shows and stuff and how they're portrayed in the best of lights. And so, because of that, Daredevil also stuck with me very much. So, a blind lawyer that fights crime and is basically also um, I would basically say Daredevil is basically Marvel's Batman in the most, in a lot of senses, because he's basically Batman if Batman was not rich, almost definitively, because they do have a mostly similar fighting style, except for the fact that Batman is a lot beefier and more muscular, but Daredevil is a lot. I would I would say maybe he fights more akin to Nightwing, but I reckon his character to be very similar to Batman in a few different ways. All right, so number two is Batman. I've done extensive, long conversations with many of my friends, many discussions online about how much I love Batman. There was at one point a Batman poster in one of my apartment or dorm rooms. That poster unfortunately broke in a moving process of some degree. But I do have a Spider-Man one right over here. I do want to get a Batman poster again sometime in the future. But money is an issue. So, the Batman comics are also very interesting. The overall adaptations in at least the movies, I don't like how we only really use a select few of villains. Um, Recently I have been getting into comics, and the only big comic arc that I have is Green Arrow right now because I want to learn the proper way to read through certain arcs of Batman before I buy just something individual overall. And so that's why I just got Green Arrow and like Star Wars stuff first. The Batman and his whole ideology, his conflict of interest with Catwoman, his relationship with Commissioner Gordon, the fact that he has a family and does his very best to be a father figure to two different individuals, but but he sucks and constantly is on mourning and goes through all these different emotions and is most certainly not perfect to any degree. And he's a billionaire playboy, but to a certain degree, he's not really a playboy once he starts getting his kids, for the most part at least. And as the family continues to grow, all the kids kind of agree that though he's not the best or the greatest, he's trying and he does it in his own way. The overall diversity and distinctiveness of every member of the Bat family, as you have Batman, Catwoman as pretty much the central, you have Nightwing, his first, you have Damian, you have Jason Todd, you have Tim Drake, you have Barbara Gordon as Batgirl or Oracle, or Batgirl then Oracle, and you have Signal, you have Orphan, Booster Gold sometimes is in accordance with the Bat family, devilish like figures, and many, many more. And so I have also gone on conversations of how I would make a like universe where the DC has like 9 different Batman films. I am very much anticipating these James Gunn's DC universe with Batman and the Bat family overall. The Clayface and dynamic duos and the Brave and Bold movies, I am all very much anticipating with heavy amounts because Batman is my second favorite hero. One and two kind of jump back and forth at times, but currently my second favorite hero. Um, and so yeah, that is why Batman is my second favorite hero right now. Okay, so why is Spider Man number one? Because throughout all the iterations of Spider Man in both movie and TV, I've watched every Toby, every Andrew, every Tom. I watched the 2016 to 2020 Ultimate Spider Man. I have watched bits and pieces of the Spider Man TV show that came after Ultimate Spider Man and a little bit of the ones from before Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man is ultimately my favorite of all the Spider-Man different shows. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is a decent show as well. Um, Also, Spider-Man just overall kind of relates the most to me, especially now overall, because pretty much I've grown up since 2016, since I started college with Tom Holland and all the different Spider-Man as a kid growing up in America, not in New York, but in America overall, and I'm not the richest. I'm not poor, but I'm not rich. I struggle with life at times. I struggle with depression and all these different things. And I feel And basically, I think to some degree, Spider-Man could be me as well. To certain extents, not perfect. But Spider-Man is pretty much the ideal way I would go about life in any kind of superhero universe. Kind of Spider-Man and Batman are kind of like the two sides of the same coin. Of like Spider-Man is controlled, and then Batman is just slightly less controlled. Um, because pretty much even Batman's most controlled self is like Spider-Man on his worst day, really, in my opinion. And so overall, Spider-Man is just my favorite because bad guys, web slinging, fights all these bad guys, struggles to make ends meet, but still wants everyone else to smile around them. And so that's why he is my favorite. And the Spider-Verse movies are also great. Okay, so those are my five favorite heroes. The first two interchangeably, and the last two sometimes I change my opinion. But for the last couple of months and overall the last year or so, number one is Spider-Man, and number two has been Batman. Let me know if you like this kind of video more for Marvel or DC content. Um, Overall, the next few weeks for Marvel and DC will be a little bit weird and in flux. Because I'm kind of in the in between since I finished the Infinity Saga and Multiverse Saga. I have an idea of what I want to do, but I don't want to do it for a little while and kind of want to take a break from the in-depth stuff. And so I kind of want to do MCU and DCU groups in the next few weeks. Comment below if you like this style of video. Comment below if you agree with some of my opinions, if you disagree. What are your favorite superheroes? Also, Wednesday's video, I actually don't even remember, to be honest. Wednesday's video will be a talking video and discussion video, one of the longer form, like 20 or so minute videos on Young Justice and how it had so much potential after the first season and pretty much also after the second season as well. And then Friday I'll be starting the Marvel Netflix shows deep dive videos with Luke Cage and ending in a few weeks with Daredevil. I intended on starting it this week, but I didn't. So that'll be this Friday, and then Saturday I'll be having two videos pop up, one around 11 a.m. and then another around 7 p.m. The first one will be talking about my experience reading The Lord of the Rings for the first time, and the second will be the next 10 or so books that I intend on reading throughout pretty much I hope to be most of the summer, and I'll be starting Star Wars Legends later this year. Hope you all had a wonderful time watching this video. Like the video, subscribe as we are on the road to 20 subscribers. I thank you all for joining me. I hope you all had a wonderful and blessed day. I will see you in the next one talking about Young Justice. Have a good day, goodbye, and God bless you all.